Hi guys, before we get started with the video, I just wanted to say this was originally going to be one video, and as I was shooting it I realised there's so much packed into this game that it really needs to be split into two. So I'm going to deal in this video with the general rules for the Walking Dead Universe RPG, and then in the second video I'm going to go over the solo rules section separately. So let's get started. Hi, it's Tom from Lone Horizons, and welcome back to the channel after a bit of an unintentional summer break. It got really hot here in London and England, southern England anyway. And we had like 3 heat waves or something with not much break between each of them. So this room got really hot, and it was just impossible to be in here after being in here all day working from home in my day job. You know, I just couldn't face sitting in front of the computer. Even when I'm not using the computer, I'm just looking down here at stuff and talking. It just seemed like too much in my ancient British house that was not designed for this kind of weather. So to ease myself back into making videos, I thought I'd do something totally different for a change, which is going to be an unboxing video and not really a review, maybe kind of a review, just checking out the solo rules for this game, which is... Hope I can quickly open this box now, so I'm not leaving you hanging, although I do realise that the title of the game will be in the video title, you know, to make it more findable and get more views, obviously. So anyway, it is... Oh no, it's like... Oh, that's my address. I better blur that out. The Walking Dead Universe RPG. So yeah, this was a bit of an impulse buy, really, because I was looking on Free League's website, just randomly looking on there, and I noticed that they had a summer sale going on, and I thought, oh yeah, they've got quite a few games that I'm interested in but I've never played, and I'd quite like to investigate. And this was a physical rulebook on sale for... I can't remember how much money I got off it, because this was actually quite a few weeks ago and it's taken me this long to make the video. So I've forgotten how much I paid for it, but it was a big discount, like way more than I'm used to seeing for physical rule books. Oh, this is really nice. Look at that. You've got a whole map, whole setting to start off in, which is really good. Let's not get ahead of ourselves though. Yeah, so why did I pick this one? They also have games like Twilight 2000, which is like a kind of modern military RPG set after World War III has happened, or during World War III. And I think I mentioned in a previous video, I thought that setting is sort of too similar to something that I would be able to do using Cepheus engine rules. You know, I think I talked in a previous video about how I don't want to just impulse buy every single RPG that I like the look of, because I'm trying to save my money, and I think, you know, well, could I kind of get that same experience, especially as a solo player, in a game I already own? There was that one. There were a couple of other ones. There's Morkborg on there, and I kind of feel like, well, I've got the free like no art version of Morkborg that you can download from their website, and I know you don't pronounce it like that. I'm sorry, I should have looked up the actual Swedish pronunciation of that game. I've got that, and I've also got oh god, what are the 2 solo supplements called? Solitary Defilement I've got, and I've also got Solitary Depths by friend of the channel Chowclips, which looks really good, and I haven't tried it out yet. And I kind of feel like, well, I probably won't make a video about Morkborg, because it's kind of been done to death over the last few years on YouTube. I mean, and also, like, it's an OSR game that's very similar to other OSR games that I'm already playing, and I feel like, do I need to add another one? to the list of OSRs that I have spent time playing. Although I know that the which ones? Maybe Solitary Depths uses moves like from Powered by the Apocalypse games. I'm wildly going off topic here when I'm supposed to be talking about this. So probably like anyone who hasn't watched my channel before has already pressed stop and gone on to find a much more useful like review video of this game. So I'm not even going to call this a review. It's going to be like, let's check out the Walking Dead Universe solo rules. It's going to be something like that, because that's what we're going to do. I'll start off as well by saying I know this uses the Year Zero engine. I don't know if it has a logo or something. No, it doesn't. But I don't know much about the Year Zero engine, and I haven't played a game that uses it before. So that's going to be quite interesting. I know it uses dice pools, I think, which I haven't used. I'm just trying to think if I've played a solo game that uses dice pools. I don't think I've actually used the dice pool mechanic in a game before. So that was another kind of plus point for me. It will be totally different to D&D and all the derivatives of D&D. So it will be a nice change for me. And the other thing is people say that this is kind of like a good candidate for the definitive zombie RPG, tabletop RPG, because in The Walking Dead, I'll give you my history with the show. I haven't read any of the comics, but I watched the show for several seasons until like the end. I'm trying not to give spoilers in case anyone is kind of watching that at the moment, and that's why they're watching this video. I can't remember which season it got up to, but it was basically came to the end of the Negan story arc. That's when I stopped watching. Basically, I got pissed off with it because I thought that they were really starting to drag out the story in the episodes and make characters fall out with each other for not strong enough reasons so that they could add more drama into it and stuff like that. And me and my wife were watching it together, and we just agreed, like, we could spend our free time doing something else instead. You don't have to kind of hate watch every show that you used to like but now don't. And I wish I had known that when Game of Thrones was on. But anyway, so that was another reason. Like, it's a good definitive kind of zombie RPG because in The Walking Dead, the zombies don't have anything unique about them in terms of like zombie lore. So like in 28 Days Later, they're not undead zombies, they're infected people and they run really fast, And so if you were going to play a zombie RPG and there was one based on 28 Days Later, you might think, well, that's not the kind of zombies I like. I like classic zombies. And then also they don't have any kind of like special zombies like in the Left 4 Dead PC games, where there'll be big ones that are like tanks that charge at you and acid spitting ones and stuff like, the kind of thing I mean, right? It happens more in computer games, but they'll make like special ones to change up the gameplay a bit. That's not in this. That makes it more attractive to me because you could, like, this gives you Northeast Georgia as a setting because that's where the show and the comics are mostly set. I think it has another setting in here as well. Oh no, that's the same thing. I think it has a bit of Virginia where they go, which I guess is that way. I'm totally guessing based on my really bad geographic knowledge of the US. But like, you could set a campaign of The Walking Dead RPG in London or in Birmingham in the UK or on the Isle of Wight, which is a really small, tiny island off the south coast of England where we were all forced to go on summer holidays when we were kids. And that would actually be quite a fun setting, I think. Like trapped on an island full of zombies, full of elderly zombies, mostly, based on the residents who live there. But this is what attracted me to this. It's like it's a classic zombie experience, and it even has like rules like the zombies in this have different combat rules when you're fighting zombies to when you're fighting humans, and zombies don't have hit points and things. You do skill rolls, I think, to see like how many of them you can kill if there's a group of them chasing you or something like that. So it's got different rule systems for fighting zombies, because they're not really fighting zombies in a zombie game is pretty different to like fighting orcs in a D&D game, right? If you think about it, they're more of a kind of environmental hazard. Yeah, they're more of a hazard than a monster enemy kind of thing. So here we've got solo play by Matt Kay. I've never heard of him. I wonder what else he's done, what he's done before this. That's interesting. So what I thought was we would have a look through the rule book. I can't review it because I've never played it, not even solo. And we'll just have a look through the rule book. We'll see what the core rules are, the resolution mechanics and things like that. And we will have a look at character creation. I'm not going to do character creation because I don't want to get kind of too down in it. And then we will look at the solo play rules and see how they differ to the main game rules. See if it's got totally different rules for playing solo, or if it's pretty much the same thing with some oracles, because some solo rules like supplements and things for other RPGs, it gives you a really, really basic oracle, which will be like, roll a d6, and on a 1 it's like an extreme no, on a 2 it's a not so extreme no, blah blah blah, and it's something that, like, if you just Google solo RPG oracle, there will be a free one that comes up as the first search result, and it will be that. And that's what they stick into. I can't even think of an example at the moment, but sometimes that happens. So I'm interested to see how detailed it is, and I have heard that it's pretty detailed. One other thing I've just remembered, actually, that attracts me to it is it's got kind of base building in it, which I haven't done any of in a solo RPG or group RPG before, and I love it in computer games a lot. I really like, building up a base and upgrading things, adding bits to it, and defending it from sieges and things like that. Maybe that happens in this. It's called the Haven. Yeah, your haven is your base. So how are we doing for our rambling intro? It's like 13 minutes so far, roughly. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I haven't gone on too long. All right, so let's just see. Let's have a look at the start of the book. This looks just like Rick, right? Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead, going into Atlanta on his horse in the first season. I can't remember what happened to that horse. Who knows? It might not have died. I'm not assuming it died. Maybe it was married with kids by the end of the second season. Who knows? I've forgotten a lot of stuff from the show. All right, am I getting any glare? Oh, look at that glare. This is my terrible lamp that I use for a light. I think I really need to get a proper sort of more diffused light that won't reflect off gloss paper like that. Sorry about that. So I'll do what I can. Maybe I put something underneath it. Hang on. This IKEA box lid could work. No, it's still really bad. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to skip this quite long introduction. So let's see. Welcome to the Walking Dead Universe role-playing game. In this book, you'll find everything you need to start role-playing in the Walking Dead universe. Oh, how's the glare? The glare isn't too bad on this page. Okay. The text above is an example of how the dialogue between those participating in the game may flow during an intense scene. Okay, I'm not going to read it all out. And as you probably noticed, there are both players and a game master in this game. Okay, so it's pretty standard RPG intro stuff, but could be a good summary of how it works. Yeah, you and your friends have to decide beforehand which one of you will be the game master or GM. The rest of you, preferably 2 to 5 people, are the players who will each create a PC. All other people in the world are called non-player characters, and they are controlled by the GM. Okay, NPCs who are in the same group as the PCs, or who could be recruited to join the group, are often referred to as NPC survivors. If or when your PC dies, you may choose one of the NPC survivors to become your new PC. So that's a pretty unique rule, isn't it? I mean, that often happens with retainers and henchmen in OSR games, but that's more of an unofficial rule in that. The first 6 chapters of this book are addressed to you as a player, while the last are for the GM. The Game Master is the only one who needs to read the entire book, not to know the content by heart, but to be able to use it as a reference while playing. Okay. It is good if the players also flip through some of the first chapters to get a feel for the game. Okay, now this is interesting. In addition to this book, you'll need pens, paper, and 10 to 20 6-sided dice. What is this, like Warhammer 40,000 or something? About 5 of the 6-sided dice should all be the same colour. These are called stress dice, and their purpose is explained in this chapter. Custom dice specially made for the game can be used to enhance the experience, but they're not required to play. Yeah, I saw them on the website, because there's also a starter set that you can buy for this. And, oh, there it is here, the starter set. In addition to this book, there is a Walking Dead starting... Sorry, it's such a long title. There is a The Walking Dead Universe role-playing game starter set. You know, you can imagine some editor saying, no, you have to say the whole title, the full title that we decided on every time you mention it in the book, and it will add like 10 more pages onto the length of the book. But that's what you have to do because of the branding rules, which offers you an easy way to start playing. It contains a condensed version of the rules and a survival mode scenario with pre-generated PCs. So I saw the price of it and I thought it just wasn't worth it, because you still need this book as well. So you may as well just buy this book, and then if you want the stress dice, you could buy any dice as long as they're the same color. So 10 to 20 dice with, did it say about 5 of them should all be the same color for the stress dice. I don't have that many same colored dice. I may be interested in getting some. There's my 3 remaining blank ones that I haven't used for anything yet. Yeah, I may be interested in getting some if I play a long campaign of this game and it's really fun. How many of these have I got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, so I've got the minimum, plus I've got some D6s in here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I think I've got enough dice. That's a D3 if you're wondering. Yeah, I think I've got enough dice to play it. And you don't need any other polyhedral dice, which is interesting, and quite new for me. Yeah, so I'm interested in... Oh, they always have this bloody what is role-playing 3 paragraphs. And, you know, you're not going to buy a role-play. You're not going to spend, like, the money that you have to spend on an RPG rulebook if you don't even know what role-playing is, right? I just don't understand why they all do it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A bit of a stupid thing to criticize, I suppose. So I want to see, like, what is the sort of core resolution rule? Like, how do you use a skill or decide whether or not what you are trying to do in that moment succeeds? The world of the dead. So this is the background on the setting. Yeah, this game takes place in the Walking Dead universe, the same setting explored throughout the various television series from AMC networks, because now you've got, like, so many of them, right? Some time has passed since those who died started to come back as flesh-eating walkers. Exactly how much time is for you to decide. Before that, your PCs all led ordinary lives. They made it through the first wave of death and destruction, bearing witness as society collapsed and the army made a futile attempt to defend the cities from the walkers. Okay, so yeah, they are now a close-knit group of allies and maybe even rivals who stick together to survive. They have a haven, a base where they are relatively safe, but they're constantly on the lookout for food, medicine, and all the other resources needed to get by. So you could, as a solo player, your goal for your campaign could just be to establish a haven and make it self-sufficient somehow. Like if they can plant crops and things like that, that would be, part of it, wouldn't it? And build up the defenses and play until you feel like you've got this haven, survivable. So yeah, the outbreak, that's when the dead started to come back. Everyone remembers it. Everyone lost somebody. Sometime before the outbreak, a virus spread around the globe. And this is a spoiler for, I think, the first season, if you haven't seen the show. A virus spread around the globe. Everyone carries it. And it is this virus that makes you come back after you die. It doesn't matter how. Walker bite, bullet wound, starvation, sickness, or natural causes. Everyone comes back as a walker. That said, being bitten or scratched by a walker will always kill you as the wound becomes infected. Your only hope, if bitten, is to amputate the limb, and quickly. Hopefully it is on a limb that you get bitten. So yeah, that's quite interesting. In this world, it's not the walker bite that kills you. It's not the walker bite that makes you come back as a zombie. It's the virus that has gone airborne and infected everyone in the world. The walkers, they are like the wind or water seeping in wherever there's a crack. You can kill individual walkers, but you can never take out so many that it makes a real difference. That makes me think of the show where there's that season where they're living in a prison and there's a chain link fence outside, and every day they just stab dozens and dozens of walkers in the head outside the fence. All the ones that arrive and start banging on the fence, And it's just such a mundane thing to them. They just see it as like, oh yeah, this person's on that duty, going stabbing all these zombies in the head. The living, there is little electricity, no industrial production of medicine or other equipment. The struggle to survive often means taking from other people. The few remaining survivors have all done inhuman things to stay alive. The living are often a bigger threat to the PCs than the walkers, but there are all kinds. In a world with cannibals, robbers and murderers, there are also those who want to trade, join ranks and build a new society. Okay, so this is interesting. When and where. The Walking Dead Universe role-playing game is designed to be set at any point in time after the outbreak, anywhere on the timeline, before, during or after any season of the various television series set within AMC's fictional universe. The geographical focus of the game is the US, and Chapter 8 includes a game setting in suburban Atlanta, but you can adapt your game to be set anywhere in the world. Survival mode scenarios are typically set at a certain point in the story of the television franchise. Okay, that's for the survival mode gameplay, which we should, I guess, look into as well. One such scenario can be found on page 136, and another is included in the starter set for this game. Okay, so player characters. After the outbreak, you are still the same, but there is one difference between you and those who didn't make it. Something that made you grit your teeth and push through everything you had to endure. That thing is called your drive. So that sounds like it is a kind of mechanical thing in the game. Being a group. This is not a game about individual heroes going on suicide missions, but a collective. You survive together, but the group must navigate the complexities of the human condition. Envy, hate, secrets, love, and everything in between. There will be conflicts among both the PC and NPC survivors in the Haven. Sometimes those conflicts are more dangerous than what lurks beyond your fences and fortifications. Okay, so it sounds there's going to be a lot of interpersonal conflict in the game, and I'm interested to know how that translates into the solo mode. Okay. What do you do? This game is about dealing with and preparing for the threats of the post-outbreak world in any way you can. This could, for example, mean improving your haven, finding more NPC survivors to join the group, scavenging for food and supplies, attacking hostile havens, and clearing out walkers from important areas. I guess they don't mention there like finding a cure for the virus or something, because that's never really been the focus of the story of The Walking Dead. There's nothing to say you couldn't do that, especially as a solo player. That's one of the fun things about playing solo RPGs. You can just do whatever you like, and you don't have to worry about friends not being into it, you know. So playing the game, here we go. We're getting to the kind of dice rolls and things. Good. There are two ways to play the game: campaign mode or survival mode. Whichever way you play, you always meet up physically or online and play for a few hours. This is called a session and could be compared to an episode in the TV series. Okay. So when you play a campaign, you play several sessions that together form a longer story. The story you create is not predetermined. Yeah, okay. So they're not encouraging railroading and stuff like that. There are two types of campaigns. Oh, okay. Free play and season play. In free play, you simply keep playing session after session till you find a suitable ending. In season play, you decide beforehand how many sessions or episodes of which your campaign will consist. That's an interesting idea for an RPG, because you might have a summer where you've got all your friends together and you're like, well, we've got this many Sunday nights to play the game on, so we'll do season play and we'll play it for this many episode sessions, and then we will kind of force an ending to the story at the end of that. And as a solo player who buys too many solo RPGs and wants to experience it but not have it drag on forever, and also not feel like you're abandoning it halfway through your story, playing one season of solo mode of this could be a nice idea, and a way you can kind of see it as something that has an end, where you can move on to the next game on your list that you haven't played yet, or you can carry on with it if you enjoy it. But I think that could be an interesting way of playing solo and making it sort of easier to play solo, if that makes sense. Okay, and so survival mode. Survival mode scenarios are often finished in 1 or 2 sessions. They give you a pre-written situation and often pre-generated PCs and NPCs. They put you right into a dramatic and dangerous situation that needs to be handled right then and there. Also, survival mode scenarios most often contain places and people from the television franchise. Maybe you run into Dwight and Sherry, I can't remember them, or you stay in the remains of what was once Woodbury, the governor's town. I remember the governor, yeah. Right. So setting scenes. I don't know. You don't have to play everything that happens. Even in the world of the dead, that would be dull. Just as in the television series, you play only specific scenes. It's like there's the classic question you ask your dad when you're watching a TV show as a kid, like, why does no one go to the toilet? I asked that anyway when I watched Mary Poppins. That was the film that made me realise that. For some reason, I just suddenly realised that Mary Poppins never goes to the toilet. So back to The Walking Dead. Most often you skip in time and space to the next interesting moment and disregard the rest. The GM usually starts each scene with a short description of when and where the scene is set and what the situation looks like. Okay, so you play it as scenes, not as a kind of continuous thing, I guess. Threat level. This sounds interesting. The walkers are a constant threat in the world of the dead. You might be temporarily safe, but they are always out there, hungry for your flesh. This is measured by a threat level on a scale from 0 to 6, indicating how active the dead are in the area around you. The threat level can be increased by loud noises, such as shooting your gun or losing your nerve in an argument and screaming at someone. You can also increase the threat level by setting off a car alarm or dropping a heavy item. Be careful out there. The threat level rules are explained fully in Chapter 5. Right, so dice and conflicts. I'm reading all of this because, so hopefully it's interesting. I'm sure it is if you wanted to watch this video, because I don't want to kind of miss some key aspect of the gameplay mechanics and then not know what it's talking about later on in the book. Oh, was that some tables at the end there? I've lost them. Oh, yes, look at that. Appendix with lots of tables. Yeah, look. Rolling up NPCs with personalities and things. Oh, this sounds good. So dice and conflicts. Mostly the game is a conversation where you describe what your PC does and say what they say. But there will come a time when you attempt something dangerous or difficult, like trying to block a door to stop walkers from getting in or shooting at someone. At these times, you use the roll of the dice to decide how things turn out, as you would expect. Your PC has skills that tell you their strengths and weaknesses. If you shoot, you use ranged combat. If you try to save someone from bleeding out, you use medicine, and so on. Each skill has a skill level from 0 to 5. Sounds simple. Cool. I like that. And each skill has a corresponding attribute on a scale from 1 to 5. Oh, attributes like, which I'm guessing will be the equivalent of strength, dexterity, constitution, etc. When rolling for a skill, add your attribute score and skill level together and roll that many 6-sided dice. Each 6 you roll is called a success. Most times you only need 1 success to achieve what you want to do. The skill mechanics are explained fully in Chapter 4. Okay, right, so let's just quickly try that. Because I like, when I'm reading an RPG rulebook, I like to just roll the dice in the way that it says, because it just physically doing a skill check or something makes it stick in my memory. I'm sure it's the same with you. So what did it say? Each skill has a skill level from 0 to 5. So we don't know what the skills are or what the attributes are right now, but you would add your attribute score and skill level together. So let's say I had a skill level of 2 for something, whatever this is, like, I don't know, parkour or something. I'm running away from some zombies and I'm jumping onto a roof. Maybe it's athletics, jumping from the top of a wall to a garage roof nearby. So let's say my skill in athletics, we'll call it, is 2. So that would be 2 dice for that. And then the corresponding attribute for athletics, maybe that's strength or dexterity or something, whatever they call them, would be, let's say that's 3. So add 3 more dice to the pool. And then you add them together. Yeah, so roll that many 6-sided dice. And then every 6 I get is a success. Most times you only need 1 success. So let's see if I get a success here. No, I jumped off the wall. Didn't jump far enough to land on the garage roof and fell down and probably took some damage. And now the walkers are right behind me again. Okay. Pushing and stress. If you fail your roll, like I just did, you get the option to try again. This is called pushing the roll and must be done immediately after the initial roll is failed. Stress points. Every time you push the roll, you take 1 point of stress. Stress is represented by stress dice. For each point of stress you have, you add a stress die to all skill rolls. That's why the stress dice need to be the same color. Because you need to roll them at the same time and they'll get mixed in with your other dice. So I couldn't be like, well, I'll use these ones as the stress dice then, because I'll forget which ones they are. So looks like I will need to buy a new set of maybe red D6s or something. So like get rid of these ones from the pool. Although these are smaller than normal size D6s. If I buy a set of red Chessex, these are Chessex dice, nice Chessex red ones, and use them, that could be good as stress dice. So stress makes you more focused, which can be helpful, but Also dangerous. Custom stress dice are included in the starter set, and more can be purchased separately. They'll be really expensive. I just know it. Maybe they would be cheaper than buying a set of Chess 6 dice. Who knows? I'll have a look into it. If you don't have access to the custom ones, just use any six-sided dice, but with a separate colour. Messing up. So this is how they are used. If you roll one or more ones on your stress dice in a skill roll, the stress of the situation has caused you to make a mistake. You've messed up. The custom stress dice have a special walker symbol on the one side to indicate this. That's quite nice, actually. So when you see the walker show up on the roll, that means you've messed up, because it doesn't really matter what other numbers you roll. It's only the ones that matter. That means you could make them by getting some blank dice and just like drawing a walker on one side of each of them. If you wanted to do that. I'm not going to do that. So that means you've messed up, and so that will happen in the skill roll where you're rolling your normal skill check dice as well. So that will be mixed in with them. Okay. Messing up generally means that you raise the threat level one step. Okay, so that's the zombie threat level that goes from 1 to 6. You have, for example, been loud enough to alarm a walker swarm, or failed to notice a walker until it attacks you. But messing up could also mean other things. The GM decides in what way your PC messes up, but you get to describe how it happens. Okay. So, yeah, that's interesting. There is an example here. David says, if they do not come to help me, I try to find my way home on my own. I wait until it's dark and sneak out of a window. GM says, there are walkers all around the house, but they're spread out enough that you might be able to sneak past them. Roll for stealth. David, I open the window slowly and climb down. There's a dumpster that I can hide behind, and then I try to sneak away. This is interesting, isn't it? So like the players are telling the story themselves as well. I don't think I've played in a group like that much before at all. I think I roll 4 dice plus 3 stress dice, so he's very stressed at the moment. I get a 6, which means I succeed, but I also roll a walker. I succeed, but I also mess up. So then the GM is going to, I guess, gets to tell him what that means. You sneak past them, all right, all the way between the houses to the edge of the small community. You cannot hear their grunting anymore, and you think that you're safe. That is until you notice that one of them has been following you. Somehow you missed it, and now it's right behind you, and it throws itself at you. What do you do? Okay. Right, so that's an example of the walkers being used as a kind of environmental hazard, right? It's a bit like, setting off a trap in D&D or something, rather than it being that you're going to fight a monster. Other dice rolls. This game uses only 6-sided dice, and they're used for more than just the skill rolls mentioned above. That was a very loud bike going past. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Here is a listing of the other kinds of dice rolls employed in various game situations. So a skill roll is add up your skill and attribute. 6 means successes. D6, regular dice roll. Oh yeah, it's got these. So D6 is tens and units, rolling 2 dice. D666, roll 3 dice. So that's like a D100. Okay. Oh no, it's not a D100, is it? Because that would be 10-sided dice. So yeah, that's that. Double high, roll 2 dice and choose the highest. Double low, roll 2 dice and choose the lowest. So that is also known as advantage and disadvantage in some other games, isn't it? I haven't actually played a game that uses it. I think D&D 5th edition does. Okay, a random die. Everyone rolls a die. The lowest result loses. Lucky die. The GM rolls a die to decide something. Okay. So that's interesting, yeah. Yeah. All right. So that gives us the basic resolution mechanic that we need to know for how we're going to resolve things that come up in the game and tasks that we're trying to succeed at. And also we got a bit of info about the fact that you can play it in season campaigns, and you're playing through scenes and you can skip ahead in time in between scenes. Okay, so this is the setting section, right? The world of the dead. This is interesting. In the beginning, right after people understood that the world would never go back to the way it was, there were a lot of rumours about the dead. I heard people claim they had seen vampires, ghosts, all kinds of fairy tale creatures. A politician told us he'd been chased by the killer from a famous 80s slasher movie. But after we'd lived with walkers for a while, and they just kept coming day after day, their novelty wore off. It would, wouldn't it? Nowadays, campfire stories are about the living. A loner we met outside Anderson swore he was being chased by a group of former students from Clemson University, now turned into naked cannibals. I guess we'll find out how true that one was. We're heading that way tomorrow. Interesting. So basically, I'm not going to read this whole chapter of the book because it's the setting. It's a zombie apocalypse. Everyone has been killed or and come back as a zombie, or survived and grouped together into little communities. Something about zombie films and zombie literature is I don't think there would be that many zombies as there are in The Walking Dead and the Night of the Living Dead films and stuff. Because if you think about it, at the start of the outbreak, it would be like a virus, like a kind of flu virus, you would think it was. Maybe it's like that, or maybe everyone's being bitten by zombies and then dying and coming back. But if you're out and there's supply problems with the food chain, and you're in a supermarket queuing waiting for it to open with your partner, and then zombies rush at the crowd of people queuing, and there's like panic, and your partner gets bitten on the arm or something. No one knows yet how the virus spreads or anything. You take your partner home, because all the hospitals are completely full up, and they're turning people away. There's no space. You take your partner home, you put them in bed, you give them like whatever painkillers you've got, and you disinfect the wound and things, and then you go to sleep next to them. Remember, we're right at the start of the outbreak. No one really knows what's going on yet. No one knows the rules about how zombies work. You go to sleep next to them, they die in the night, come back as a zombie, and then they eat you in your sleep. And wouldn't that be like the experience of most people in the pandemic? Unless you lived on your own, then you go home and you die on your own, and then you're a zombie alone in your home. I imagine there would be loads like that. But I just don't think there would be like these massive crowds of people that died in some way, and then were given the chance to come back as a zombie without being eaten by zombies first. As a totally like long, pointless diversion from this RPG, but it's the kind of thing I want to talk about, because that's what I think would happen if there was a zombie outbreak. I just don't think there would be that many. Okay, so the next chapter is the player characters. This goes over creating your character. Let's just have a look at the list here. Choose an archetype. That's interesting. So that's a bit like a class, maybe. Choose a name, choose an issue, choose your drive. Those are two new things that I haven't seen before. Distribute 13 points amongst your attributes. Distribute 12 points amongst your skills. Choose a talent, choose your gear. Define relationships to the other PCs. That's interesting. Choose 2 anchors. We didn't read about anchors earlier on. Describe your starting haven. Oh, so you have a haven to start off in. That's interesting. Okay. So let's see. Core aspects. Archetype. I'm guessing there will be a list of archetypes coming up, which we'll look through. Name. Yep. Issue. Everyone who is alive in the world of the dead has an issue, something that is problematic or challenging about their person. An issue could be almost anything: being an alcoholic, trusting people too easily, being lonely and longing for company, and so on. Each archetype has suggestions on issues. That's good. Choose one of them or come up with something on your own. I'm glad they have suggestions because that's a bit like in Scarlet Heroes when you have to make up traits at the start of the game before your character has done anything in the game, and they have a nice table that you can roll on, which is really useful for that, because sometimes it's kind of hard to create an issue from scratch when you've never played the game before and you don't know how much it will come up in the gameplay and stuff like that. So when I play this solo, I will probably choose an example one from the archetype for my character. Issues have two functions. The most important is to help you understand and roleplay your PC. The other is to give the GM inspiration for creating challenges in the story. Okay, so if you, for example, are protective of children and cannot stand to see them get hurt, there will probably come a time when you will hear babies crying inside a building that is surrounded by walkers. Oh no, the orphanage, the old orphanage. It is up to you to decide how your PC handles it. You might risk it all to save those babies, or you find out that children are not that important to your PC after all. It is possible to change your issue at any time, but it works best to do it between sessions. You'll always have at least one issue. Okay, so that's good for forcing you to do role-playing. And then your drive is the thing that makes you grit your teeth and push through the fear and the pain. Your drive could be that you're looking for your daughter or that you are afraid of dying. It's whatever keeps you going. That's a good thing. As a solo RPG player, that's a really good thing to have when you make your character, because when you're on your own playing solo, you really need something that to be working towards that is like your long-term goal. I think having it worked into the mechanics of the rules of the game is a really good idea for that. That's like Ironsworn does that as well with your kind of long-term vow thing that you have. Some other games do it, but a lot of the time for solo players, you don't realize that you need something like this. You just wander about aimlessly having adventures, and then you get bored and stop. So that's good. All right, scars. If you want to, you can roll a die to determine a random scar or trauma you begin the game with. Only if you want to, though. Okay, so bullet hole, you were shot and survived. Something is missing, you lost an ear, an eye, a finger or toe or something else. Characteristics. So here we go. I'm not going to go over this in a lot of detail because I kind of want to get to the solo rules after this. Attributes are strength, agility, wits, and empathy. Okay, so, you know, we're all experienced RPG players here. I think we don't really need an explanation in detail of what those things are. Strength, agility, wits, and empathy. That's a good, just 4. That's a good kind of core set. And then your skills, they are described in detail in chapter 4. Okay. At the start of the game, you cannot have more than 2 points in any skill except for the main skill of your chosen archetype, which you may spend 3 points on, and you get 12 points in total to distribute. Okay. So what's up next? Oh, here we go. Skills. Are these all the skills in the game? Wow, that's not many. I thought there'd be more. Maybe there are more. I don't know. Close combat, endure, force, mobility, ranged combat, stealth, scout, survival, tech, leadership, manipulation, medicine. Maybe it's good to have fewer skills, because sometimes, like in Mithras that I'm playing solo at the moment, sometimes there's like so many, you just don't know which one to use, and it slows you down. Talents. Okay, talents are tricks, traits, and abilities that can benefit you in various situations. They affect your dice rolls, or they let you do things you would not otherwise be able to do. Talents are described in chapter 4. Okay, so your archetype restricts your choice to one of 3 starting talents. As you play and gain experience rolls, you can buy more talents by choosing freely among them, including starting talents from other archetypes. Each talent comes with a prerequisite, something that must have happened in your life for you to gain it. Oh, that's interesting. Not like you must have like 3 points in strength or something. If, for instance, you want to have the talent Ice in the Veins, you must have survived an attack from a walker. For your starting talent, the prerequisite is a part of your background. Okay, when you buy a new talent, the prerequisite could be something that happened in-game or as part of your backstory that we haven't heard about before. Describe this event to the others when you get the talent. Right, okay, and then health points. So you have, all PCs and NPCs have 3 health points. This is interesting. Each point of damage removes 1 point of health. If you lose all of them, you are broken and suffer a critical injury. Damage and healing are described in Chapter 5. So health, 3 is unharmed, 2 is bruised, 1 is battered, and 0 is broken. Okay, so when you're broken, you get a critical injury. All right. So before we go on to the next bit, what have we got left in the rulebook? This is quite an easy rulebook to read, actually. We've got up to like here. Here come the archetypes after that. Then you've got the list of skills and talents, combat and healing. It would be worth reading about combat, especially because we want to read about how you fight people and then how you fight the dead. The Haven, we'll skim over that and get an idea about that. And then running the game, maybe we won't read so much of that because a lot of it will be specifically for GMs who are coming up with the story and not randomizing everything like we do as solo players. Then you've got details about Atlanta and where are the swarms and the locations you can use in the city and stuff like that. But we won't need that for right now. That seems like a scenario, the Golden Ambulance. Then you've got these appendices with tables, and then you've got the solo play rules. Okay, so I'm not gonna read all of that in detail in this video. Stress and anchors. So anchors, okay. So when scary or distressing things happen, your PC takes stress. We know that. You can also suffer stress by pushing skill rolls. Having stress lets you add stress dice to any skill roll, but you also risk messing up and attracting walkers. Stress and stress dice are described in Chapter 5. You start the game without stress. So anchors, this is what we didn't read about earlier. You have 2 people in the group who are important to you, each player. In-game, you can interact with them to relieve stress. An anchor can be someone like a friend, a lover, your parent, or your child. One of the anchors is always an NPC in your group, and the other is always another PC. I'm interested to know, in the solo rules, do you treat all the other characters as NPCs, or will there be a group that follow the same rules that PCs do, even though you've got your main one PC that you play as? You can never have more than 2 anchors, but you can lose them if, for instance, they get killed or if they become mad at you and tell you to stay away from them. It's just kind of funny the way that's written. Under relationships on page 29, you can learn about how to define the NPCs in your group of survivors. Choose one of them as your anchor and one of your fellow PCs as your other anchor. So it sounds like you would have quite a long session 0 if you play this game as part of a group, which could be, I guess that would be quite fun, really. Gaining a new anchor. To get a new anchor, you must create a situation where you clearly rely on, trust, live for, or put your faith in another person. When this is established in the game, you may state that the person becomes your new anchor. So that's interesting as well. It's not like you need to get this many points in your relationship with this person or something. You just decide, this situation I've just gone through in that session means that NPC that was part of it is now my new anchor, and you just tell the GM that, and that's fine. Handle your fear. At the end of each session, the GM will go through the list of breaking points on the next page. If any of these things happen to you during the session, you need to roll to handle your fear. So that's things like an anchor gets killed or disappears, an anchor turns against you or leaves you. You kill or brutally beat someone who can't defend themselves. You are broken by damage. It's stuff like that. Okay. So then when you try to handle your fear, you roll as many dice as either your wits or your empathy allow. Your choice. Add +2 for each anchor who is still alive and on your side. You do not add stress dice. Rolls to handle your fear cannot be pushed. It would be good to have a flowchart showing like a flowchart for a session, and within that scenes. So you would have like at the start of a scene, what do you do? And at the end of a scene, what do you do? And at the start of a session, what do you do? And at the end of the scene, what do you do? Like you do, you roll for breaking points and stuff like that at the end of a session and stuff. So that would be quite useful, wouldn't it? There might be something like that online, like a kind of summary flowchart thing that you can just have next to you while you're playing. Losing drive. What is this? If you get... Oh, is that here? No, shattered. Oh, overwhelmed. Okay, so if you fail the roll, so if you get at least 1 6, the roll is successful and you have managed to handle your fear. But if you fail the roll, you are overwhelmed by fear. Roll on the overwhelmed table to see what happens, and that's it there. And that's those things there. You lose your drive, or you become shattered, or your issue changes, or you gain another one. Okay. So basically one of 3 bad things will happen to you. I'm not going to read all of that because I'm itching to get to the solo bit. So starting gear, roll 3 times on the gear table for your archetype. So each archetype has a gear table. Okay. Rations. I wonder if there must be survival rules, right, for how much food and water you need to have and stuff. A ration is an abstract measure of food and water. You must consume 1 ration each day or you will starve. Okay, that's quite simple. All right, experience. At the end of each session you get XP. They can be used to buy new talents or points in skills to a maximum of 5. Buying a skill point or new talent costs 10 XP. You may save your XP for later or use them immediately, but you can only buy skill points and talents after or before a session, not in-game. Okay, though there are other ways to earn XP, the primary way is to answer the questions for XP after each session. So for each yes, you get 1 XP. Did you participate in the session? You always get at least 1. Oh, so that's just for being there. Did you achieve something important? What? Did you learn something? What? Did you explore at least 1 new sector on the travel map? Page 92. That's interesting. All of those kind of things. Okay, I'm interested to know if there are different rules for XP for solo play. And then relationships with other characters seem to be quite important. I'm going to skip over that. Oh, and here we go. NPC survivors. Roll a d6 to determine which group of NPC survivors you begin the game with. Okay. That's great. So you, on each table, you roll a d6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So you'll have 6 survivors with you, I guess. And they're NPC survivors. Also, there are going to be quite a lot of characters in this. I wonder if they have skills and characteristics or not. Maybe they don't. It's got their listed gear. And I guess if you've played it before and you roll the same character that you had before, you can just change their name or re-roll. Okay, and then you've got the Haven rules. Herschel Green, I remember him. I hereby declare we have Spaghetti Tuesdays. He didn't sound like that. Don't know why. Don't know what that accent was. Your Haven. Yeah, okay, so your current home base is called the Haven. Could be anything from a tent on a roof to a bunker filled with supplies, or a whole town with people and walls keeping the walkers out. This is what I wanted to know. A haven is described mechanically by 2 ratings, capacity and defense. Capacity is an abstract value that represents how many people it can sustain, while defense measures how well protected you are inside it. Capacity and defense range from 0 to 6. Your starting haven has 2 in capacity or defense and 1 in the other. Okay. It is possible to increase capacity and defense by working on projects. This is described in more detail in chapter 6. Okay, so I kind of thought you wouldn't have a haven to start off with, and that like finding one would be a big part of the early gameplay, but maybe they might have play tested that and found that it just makes the game too hard, and most players died before they got a haven. Because if you need it to be able to like rest up and heal and stuff like that, and prepare food and things, then maybe it's kind of vital for survival. Okay, so let's look at these example starting havens. The bus on a hill. You have placed some tents in a circle around an abandoned and broken bus on a hillside. It is a good spot to see intruders before they manage to run up the high slopes, and it takes time for walkers to get to you. But you do not have any real defences except the person currently on watch duty on top of the bus. One good thing is that the camp is nestled far away from major roads and potential plunderers. Whoever was here before you left a big stash of canned food in the bus. It is possible to hunt for food in the forest surrounding the hill. Okay, so it's got capacity 2 and defense 1. Issues with it relies on a food source that will become depleted. Fresh water in a creek deep in the forest. Someone left that food here and they might come back for it. And easy to spot the bus from afar, right? And then you've got the factory, capacity 1, defense 2. You've managed to close all the gates leading into an old factory. It is huge inside with great halls, strange machines and winding corridors. It is easy to shoot at intruders from the second floor, and if walkers break in, you can find shelter on the balconies. Right, so that's why it's got defense 2. But there's hardly any food left, and you need to go on constant food raids in the dangerous residential areas nearby. Also, the inside of the factory is too big to keep track of. People or walkers who break in may move around without you noticing it. So, relies on food runs, possible undiscovered holes in the outer walls, no fresh water, and easy to hide inside. Right. Okay, so that's basically just an introduction to your haven, right? And then you've got the archetypes. This is interesting. The criminal, the doctor. So the doctor, key attribute is empathy. Key skill is medicine. Talents, emergency medicine, doctor-patient hierarchy. Seen it all. So choose amongst the suggestions below or make one up yourself. Issue could be bitter, sworn to help, unanswered love. Drive, fear of dying, higher purpose. I will find my wife. So you pick one. Gear, you roll a d6 3 times on that list there. Basic medical gear, medications and drugs. Spear, scalpel taped to a stick. A scalpel might not be that useful, right? If it's taped to a stick, it's probably going to come loose pretty easily, and it's not very big as a blade. Car, diary, pistol. Okay. Relationship to other characters. I trust you. You are not like us. I want to get to know you better. Interesting. So what are the other ones? The farmer, the homemaker, the kid. Oh, like Carl in The Walking Dead, or as Andrew Lincoln pronounced his name, Coral. The law enforcer. I guess that's Rick Grimes. The nobody. Interesting. The outcast. Could that be Daryl Dixon? I don't know, maybe. The politician. The preacher. Oh, yeah, there's that priest, isn't it? That guy was in The Wire as well, which was another really good show. The scientist. The soldier. That's great. I think that's enough archetypes for some good gameplay and story. Okay, chapter 4 is skills and talents. Now I'm going to kind of skip over this because we went over how you use skills and things already. These are some nice illustrations in here. I'm not really kind of doing a review of the rulebook and how it's laid out and stuff like that. But I like the illustrations. I will just mention that. It's got a nice, consistent, professional style. Oh, look. And then there's difficulties for tasks. Okay, yeah. So, difficult, highly unlikely, and almost impossible. So, If a task is difficult, you need 1 success when you roll your dice, so 1 6. If it's highly unlikely to work, you need 2, and almost impossible would be 3. Right. There's the skill list. Yeah, not that many skills, but that's probably all you need. And then there's a list of talents, aren't there? Yeah. And they're based on your archetype, right? Okay. This is good. I don't really need to do so much studying of the character creation bits that I'm able to create a character right now. I don't need to do that. Combat and healing. Okay, we'll quickly look at combat. Duels. So the most basic way of fighting is when you're up against a living opponent, either with guns, knives, or your bare hands, is handled as a simple opposed roll. The fighter with the most successes wins, and they inflict damage on the other fighter equal to their own weapon's damage rating. Wow, that's interesting. So it's like you both do a roll, and one of you wins and one of you loses, and you might be damaged, you might end up bruised, or you might be, battered, or get one of those critical injuries and die or something. So wow, that's pretty it's pretty tense if you go up against someone in combat. Then I like the sound of that though, just because it's different. There's not going to be endless combat rounds with you missing each other. I guess no one will miss. Although opposed rolls in duels, neither A or B gets any successes means no one deals damage. Yeah, okay. If you and your opponent are still standing after the opposed roll, you may attack each other again. So it sounds like combat wouldn't necessarily always end in death. It could end in someone being wounded and the other one, having proved their point, lets them live or something. Oh, look, it looks exactly like Michonne. Michonne? I can't remember how to say her name. All right, so I don't need to know the exact every step-by-step bit of combat rules in this. That's fine. And so then there's short range, long range, and extreme range, where only special weapons can be used at this distance. Okay. You got rules for cover, a defenseless target, like doing sneak attacks and things, movement, multiple combatants. If 2 fighters gang up on a single enemy, the lone fighter must first decide who to roll an opposed roll against. The lone fighter is then considered a defenseless target above against the other opponent. All attacks happen simultaneously. Wow. So there's no opposed roll if someone's a defenseless target. You just need to roll a success on your combat skill roll to hit. Wow. Okay. And then brawls. When several people are involved in a fight and the situation is complicated and intense, you use the rules for brawls. The rules for range, movement, and defenseless targets apply in brawls as well. But what does that mean? The 6 actions available... Oh, okay, combat rounds. So brawls are divided into rounds. So that's more like D&D combat then. And in each round, everyone gets 1 action. Actions normally require a skill roll. Besides this single action, you may also do quick and simple things such as shouting a few words, picking up a gun from the counter next to you, drawing your knife from its sheath, or pressing a button. The brawl ends whenever the story calls for it. This could be because all the enemies are dead, have given up or run away, or because you have been defeated. In a brawl, actions are divided into 6 categories, resolved in phases numbering from 1 to 6. Okay, during each round, the GM calls out each phase, and then all NPCs and PCs that want to perform their action in that phase declare it. NPCs declare first, then PCs. I probably missed this earlier on, but I'm not sure who controls the NPCs in a brawl. Okay, so brawl phases: taking cover, then ranged combat, then close combat, then movement, then first aid, then other. All right, let's just quickly look at close combat and see if it's just an opposed roll like with duels. Everyone states who they attack, then the skill rolls are resolved, starting with opposed rolls. Cover does not apply. Oh, okay. So it is similar then. Damage and healing, I'm kind of going to skip over that because it's not totally necessary. Oh, look, there's a critical injuries table that you'll have to roll on if you get a critical injury. Some of them are not lethal, but it looks like a lot more of them are lethal with a time limit of days, hours, or minutes. Or you get disemboweled or a pierced head and you die instantly. Right. Okay. So then I always like this, where you've got rules for other hazards. So this is like explosive weapons, fire, poison, things like that, being in a burning room. Because when that comes up in your game, it's nice to have rules to be able to just look up rather than having to figure it out on the fly yourself. And then try and be consistent the next time it happens. Falling damage, traps. Oh yeah, I guess that you would encounter traps in this game because people set traps for, well, other survivors sneaking into their haven and also for zombies as well, right? Okay, I'm not going to read about gear. Oh, there's rules on vehicles. Here's close combat weapons, all based on ones from the show. That's good. You can have a crossbow. I'm going to end up making a kind of Daryl Dixon rip-off guy when I play solo. Vehicles. So you've got vehicle rules. Yeah, that's great. That's really nice. There's loads of stuff in here, loads of mechanics and things to get your teeth into and use in your solo game. And when when I play this, I'll kind of make sure that I work all of these rules into my first campaign as much as I can, because I don't know when the next time I'll play a campaign of this will be after the first one, because I've got so many other games I want to play. Yeah, that's good. Fighting the Dead. I just wanted to read this, and then I think we're just going to go to the solo rules. Swarms of walkers are a constant threat. Walker characteristics. The walkers don't have skills, attributes, health points, or any other mechanical characteristics. The GM should describe them in a creatively gory way, while also reminding you that they were once human and living. Some help in doing this can be found in the two tables Walker Past and Walker Wounds on page 142. Let's just have a look at that then. Is it like telling you what they look like? Oh yeah, look. Walker's Past. Hippie professor. Priest. Child with toy. Oh, that's awful. I think this is a kind of game where all those kind of like safety rules, I can't remember what you call them, but like basically in session 0, sitting down with your friends and saying, is there anything that you just don't want to have to handle in this game, because it will not be fun at all for you. So if someone might say, I don't want to see any child zombies, I don't want to have to stab a child zombie in the head and kill them, you can be like, that's fine, So I think, you would want to do that. Granny. It's Granny. She's back. In zombie form. Cult member, hunter, goth teenager, child with... they like putting in their child zombies, don't they? And Walker Wounds. No lower jaw. Well, that's a classic one. I'm sure we've seen that a few times in the show. Spear wounds on the legs. Shotgun wound in the chest. So it could have like a hole through its chest or something. This is great. Yeah, this is really good to roll on. You could probably even make your own table, like make a D100 table or something if you're a GM, and just make loads of these descriptions just for use in your game, just to make sure you didn't keep getting the same ones. All right, so swarm size. A group of walkers, typically 5 or more, is referred to as a swarm. The size of a swarm is its swarm size. So 5 to 10 walkers is swarm size of 1, and it goes up to 6. A size of 3 would be 21 to 50, and size 6 would be over 1,000. So that's like some great swarm that moves through the landscape, eating everything it comes across, and is basically unstoppable. I think there's a bit in the show that's like that, where there's this gigantic swarm that everyone is talking about, all the survivors for miles around, spreading rumors about it, like it's just a huge mass of zombies all walking down the highways or something. I can't really remember, and like it's a looming threat. That would be a good kind of thing to do in a campaign of this, wouldn't it? So, as mentioned in Chapter 1, the constant threat from walkers is measured by a threat level on a scale from 0 to 6, indicating both how active the dead are in the area and how close they are to you. So, yeah, a threat meter. Oh, the starter set gives you a little threat meter. You could make one yourself, I think. I think it's like a little like disc that turns and a thing that points to the number or something. So yeah, you can just write it down on a piece of paper. Setting the threat level. So when a scene starts, the GM sets the threat level according to the situation. It measures undead threats in the immediate surroundings and may thus be changed just by moving from one room to the next. If the situation in the game changes, the threat level changes accordingly. Okay. That's fine. So it can be increased in 4 ways. Rolling a walker on a stress die and messing up. Failing a skill roll to avoid walkers. Facing a group of walkers that has been placed in a location beforehand by the GM. Doing something in the game that attracts walkers, such as making noise, right? I was just thinking about this as well as I was reading that. In situations where increasing the threat level seems illogical or not appropriate, the GM may instead do one of the following. Let a PC or NPC suffer a single walker attack, or increase the swarm size by 1 step. So yeah, the threat levels are here. Oh, okay, yeah. So this describes the threat level is different to a swarm size because that is just describing a specific swarm of walkers that may be in the area. So 0 is you are in a cleared area and safe for now. 1 is there's walkers around but they have not noticed you. You might suffer a single walker attack if you mess up a skill test. Then 3, the walkers are aware of you. All nearby walkers will shamble towards you and you must fight to get out alive. All PCs present take 1 point of stress. Right. And then number 6 would be you're in the middle of a big crowd of them and they're going like that and you're just going to be pulled underneath and torn to pieces. Which is like a shot seen many times in the show. All right. Avoiding walkers. Are we going to... Yeah, this is where we're going to find out how you fight them. At threat level 1 or 2, you can still try to avoid the walkers, for example, by using stealth to sneak around them or running past them with mobility. Failing the skill roll means that the GM can have one of 2 things happen. The threat level is increased 1 step or you suffer a single attack. Should you also mess up on the skill roll, both things happen. Oh, disguising as the dead. Yeah, that's from the show. I won't go over that. I don't want to keep dishing out spoilers for the show in case anyone is, in the middle of season 3 or something like that. How many seasons were there? 16 or something crazy. It just became a soap opera. So there is no easy way to reduce the threat level. At threat level 2 and below, you can generally just wait for the walkers to leave. You can even attack the walkers first to clear out the area. See page 83. That's the next page. At threat level 3 and above, the walkers know you are there and won't just go away. Even if they can't currently attack you, they might just mill around the area aimlessly. To get rid of them, you'll need to cause some kind of distraction. Describe what you want to do and the GM will decide what roles, if any, are needed to lure the walkers away or direct their attention elsewhere. I really want to get to the solo rules to find out what it says about all these bits where the GM decides something at their discretion and how you decide that as a solo player. So, yeah, just quickly, a single attack is used when you attack or are attacked by just 1 or a few walkers less than a swarm. If you want to determine the exact number, the GM can roll a double low, but it has no mechanical effect. A single attack, I can't remember what a double low is, but it was earlier on in the rules, I think. A single attack can result from you messing up on a skill roll. This means that you have not alerted the swarm at large, but 1 or 2 of them are definitely coming at you. It will be one, you haven't noticed one, and it goes like that and comes from the side or something, or from behind you. So one roll. A single walker attack is resolved with one skill roll by you. You can roll for any skill that makes sense in the situation. The GM has the final word. Others may help you with the roll. Okay. So again, it's combat that's just resolved in one dice roll. During combat, if you suffer a single attack while already in a brawl or duel, you still get to make a roll to avoid it. This does not count as an action. If you succeed in your roll, so it's a skill, you can roll for any skill that makes sense in the situation. Okay, so it could be like strength to bash it over the head, I suppose. Is that how it works? If you succeed in your roll, you have killed the walkers, hidden from them, or in some other way stopped them. This doesn't mean that you are safe, however. You could still be barricaded in a room with walkers waiting outside the only exit. Failure. If you fail the roll, roll on the walker attack table on the next page. This might mean that you take damage or that you die. If you become broken, you must also roll for a critical injury, like we discovered earlier. Even if you fail, the single attack is over. Okay, so if we failed our skill roll on a single attack, and we will do a D66 roll to see what happens. Let's find out what it is. 14. You kill it, but you break or lose your weapon or something else important. This is really nice. I like the idea of this. Let's do another one. I always do green die first when I'm doing these rolls. D66 rolls. 65. A walker bites you in the face and eats one of your eyes and your nose. You try to fight it, but you soon bleed to death. Wow. Yeah. So it is quite crazy. Yeah. You can just fail one roll and that's it. Your character is gone forever. Wow. So this makes me think it's not like D&D where the GM throws dozens of goblins at you and they're all cannon fodder and they can't even hit you and you're just slaughtering them. Or Scarlet Heroes is probably a better example of that, where they, the level 1 enemies are not going to really have much chance of killing you at all. I think in this game you want to avoid going up against walkers wherever you can, because every time you come into contact with a walker, you're opening yourself up to the chance of being bitten or scratched and infected. Or rolling 65 and having a walker eat your face, which would not be good. Okay, so, look at that. Amputation. In some results on the walker attack table, you must amputate a body part to survive. The person who is cutting off a piece of you must make a medicine roll. Both of you take 1 point of stress. Whether the roll is successful or not, you take the critical injury severed limb. But if the medicine roll is successful, the injury is not lethal, as indicated in the table. Should the skill roll fail, the injury is lethal and handled as normal. Wow. Okay, so then fighting a swarm. Once the threat level reaches level 3, when the walkers are aware of you and move in for their meal, the situation is dealt with in rounds, as in brawls. Okay, basically they attack you while you fight to get to safety. So then each combat round, you'll do a skill roll and see what happens. And each round you will be trying to move out of their way and escape the area so you can end the combat. That's quite good. I like the way they've done this. It's quite creative. I guess they had the Year Zero engine already set up for them. And I don't know how much of this is new and how much of it just comes from the Year Zero engine, but I'm guessing quite a bit of the rules to do with walker attacks and swarms must be very specific to this game. Okay. And then it's got some extra rules here. Small groups. If just 2 characters face a swarm of walkers, they still make 3 skill rolls, with one of them rolling twice. The second of those rolls gets a -2 modifier. I guess that means -2 dice. If a single PC fights a swarm, they roll all 3 rolls themselves with a -2 modifier to the second roll and -4 to the third roll. Okay, I don't need to get into like the nitty gritty of it. But yeah, this sounds good. Oh look, that's them from the show, right? Those two. I've forgotten her name, but she went on to be in that Star Trek show, right? Anyway, Home and Away. I think we're gonna. So this is all the detailed rules about like your haven. Okay, this is a nice stitch bound hardback book, by the way, which is really good. Not like print on demand ones. Some of mine are starting to fall apart, I think. So I'm not going to read through all of this right now. I think I'm not bothered about how long this video gets. I don't mind about that. I wanted this to be, this is for my benefit as well as yours. I'm reading. This is my sort of me time where I'm figuring out how I'm gonna solo this. But I just want to get to the solo rules. So you've got the running the game section there. Okay, so that will give you ideas about planning out what is going to happen in the sessions as a GM and stuff like that. And then you've got survival mode scenarios as well. Survival mode doesn't sound that interesting to me, although I suppose it could be quite fun if you can play it solo. It would be quite just a fun thing to do as a one-off little game to play over 2 nights or something. Okay, so we are going to leave this video here and pick it up again in the next video, which will be specifically looking at the solo rules. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.